إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
إن الحمد نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا وقال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. All praise and glory be to Allah Rabbul Alameen, the one and unique, who created us and taught us how to speak. He is the Lord of the oppressed and answers the dua of the weak. Salam, peace and blessings be on final messenger, our leader, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and on his family, and on all the Muslims and their families till the day of judgment. Inshallah, we'll be starting the life of the scholars. So this is one of the course taught in almost all universities, Islamic universities, including University of Medina, and how to pick the scholars throughout the time, and what is the objective of this lecture. This is really important to know before starting that, which is the scholars are basically defined those people who hold tight the hadith or sunnah, right, in different times, because time is changing, and in different levels of times, whenever people would like to hold the sunnah, the prophetic tradition, to explore the life, they are basically defined as the muhaddis, and their lives are recorded starting from 460 after Hijri till now. So their lives are recorded. Why their lives are recorded? That is one of the beauty of Islam, that in Islam, every sunnah, every hadith, who is narrating, their life story is explained. And that is the unique quality of this religion, unlike other religions, because everything is documented. The goal of this particular khutbah, it will be continuing probably, will change on different topics, inshallah, is to know the scholars of the Ahl Sunnah al Jama'ah throughout the history of Islam, and knowing the factors that shaped their lives, bring positive change into personal and social life of ourselves, right? And finally, accepting the difference of opinion, forming the realistic change rather than idealistic perception of life, because life is not ideal. There are different ups and downs, and we need to traverse through that particular dimension. And one of the important point is that they're human. They're not prophets, they're human. So we need to take the positive out of them and ignore the negatives. We cannot expect that all things are positive of them. Except prophet, everyone has flaws. Studying their lives to explore the patterns leading to positive change in life so that we can apply good things that we like from their lives into our modern affairs. Because most of the scholars that we will be going through probably travel through the time that is similar to ours in some aspect. So that might be really useful. The scholar that will be starting, he is one of the Tabi. We are starting from the Tabi, after the generation of Sahaba. His name is Mutarrif Ibn Abdullah. His life will be taught. Now, who was Mutarrif? Most of the hadiths narrated from Abu Huraira, the second person was Mutarrif in most of the hadiths, right? So he was born in different narrations that when he was 5 years old, he remembered Prophet Muhammad. That is one narration, right? So definitely he didn't attain the puberty level when Prophet died. That's why he's a tabi. Okay. Now he grew up in Medina. This scholar grew up in Medina, and which was a place rich of knowledge throughout the history, because many companions of Prophet Muhammad lived there. Umar radhiyallahu anhu, when he was a caliph, he made a rule that no Sahaba will go out from Medina more than 6 months. So because he wanted to preserve the life, because their life was threatened. Because if the other nationalities, Romans or other Jew people, they would kill the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, then all the Sunnah, all the Hadith can be abolished, right? That's why there were 50 plus attempts were taken to kill Abu Huraira. 50 plus attempts from different. So this indicates that the enemy of Islam are always active. Now that was one of the important point that he made. He specifically mentioned Umar radhiyallahu anhu, that Ibn Masud, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar, they could settle outside of Medina so that they can teach. That's why they were actually spread in different places. That was the idea of Umar radhiyallahu anhu and their own intention as well. Umar radhiyallahu anhu was really strict about this because he wanted to consult these people, but his condition was that you can go out, but not more than 6 months. After 6 months, you have to come back. So that was his. So what are the why you are living? Why you are learning his life? Because we need to know the time. At what time he explored? He lived 92 years. Mutarrif. He lived 92 years, and he saw most of the ups and downs that happened in the history of Islam. For example, his father was a noble Sahabi. He had a special family. He saw the murder of Usman radhiyallahu anhu. That was the fight among the Muslims. The fitna that occurred between the Sahaba in the time of Ali radhiyallahu anhu, he witnessed that. The murder of Ali, Hussein, and that actually took place after that, different political changes. He also witnessed the Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf, one of the most oppressed ruler in Islamic history. He saw that political changes. The fitna of Ibn al-Ashant. Now, this is interesting that Ibn al-Ashant was one of the commander of Hajjaj bin Yusuf. One of the commander, but they had some difference of opinion, and then he made a separate group, and he actually inspired most of the Sahabas, Tabe'ins, so that they can talk against Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf, and there are many conversations. We will not go through that. But the main point is that he went through all the political changes and how he led a life. That's really interesting to know. He also witnessed the Khawariji movement, the Rafidi movement, and Qadariya movement, right? Qadari is one of the deviated sect. Anyway, I will not go through that. Now, Ibn Sa'd said about Mutarrif that he was a trustworthy hadith narrator, and an excellent person of grace, piety, sound mind, and noble manners. Noble manners. He was popular for noble manners. Az-Zahabi, Imam Zahabi, said that he is the Imam, an example to follow, and the authority. He has the authority. The great scholar of his time, such as Al-Hasan al-Basri, one of the famous Tabi, Al-Hasan al-Basri, Qatadah, Muhammad bin Wasi, and others narrated hadith from him. So they took hadith from Mutarrif, but he was not that popular in terms of knowing. What was his method to deal the fitna? That's really interesting point to discuss, right? Because we are traveling through the time of extreme fitna, and sometimes we don't know. So he would tell people that, now before that, he was a student of almost all the famous Sahabas. That was one of his traits, including Ali radhiyallahu anhu, Muawiyah radhiyallahu anhu, Aisha radhiyallahu anha. So those three had fight, some sort of. But he was the student of everyone. He used to go and learn hadith and the knowledge. Now, he was not engaged in any of the fight. He was not engaged in any of the fight. He would tell people that it is haram, prohibited to be involved in such a fitna. Whenever any fitna trial happens, it is prohibited to engage. He thought that in the time of chaos, it is not a time to debate with people, right? And convince them once it has reached the extent of fighting, so that it can go to the fighting level actually. Ibn Taymiyyah said, the 14th century scholar, that when the fitna happens, the wise man cannot control the ignorant ones. When the fitna happens, the wise man cannot control the ignorant ones, right? He would say that fitna is not a time of guidance, right? But a time of test. So be careful about your deeds so that you do not lose them and involve yourself in the haram. He would use common sense, right? Not always rules, but common sense to do, not to do anything or do anything. He didn't use empty words to move people's heart, so he didn't use the emotion, like a oratory speech to move out people. He didn't do that. Fitna is caused by mostly empty words or emotion, right? He would involve himself in worshipping Allah at the extreme level. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, worshipping Allah in the time of fitna is like migrating with me to Medina. Again, I am repeating this hadith from Sahih Muslim, that worshipping Allah in the time of fitna, in the time of fighting, is basically like migrating with me, like hijrah, with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Medina. What a powerful reward, right? That was his statement. He was not interested in passing judgment between either side involved in the fitna or fight. So fitna means fighting among the Muslims, right? So this is one of what I'm talking about. He would not ask about the details of the fitna. He would not ask. He would not explore that. And he used to say, by Allah, I would rather be asked by Allah, why did you not kill so and so, than to be asked by him, why did you kill so and so? Again, so he was saying that I would rather be asked by Allah, why did you not kill so and so, than to be asked by him, why did you kill so and so? Because if Allah asks, why did you kill him, I cannot answer anything. But if Allah asks, why did you not kill him, I can answer. I wanted to save him. So that was his argument. His constant remembrance of hereafter. So he said that death has corrupted any pleasure of the worldly life. One of his dua was, O Allah, be pleased with me. If you are not pleased with me, at least put your mercy upon me. He had excellent manners, nobility of character, and care for the people. He said that he would never lie in his life, even if this life would bring to him wealth of the entire world. He would never lie, even if a single lie can bring the wealth of the whole world, he would never lie. He told his friends that if they wanted something from him, do not ask him, but write it on a piece of paper and give it to him, because he felt that if he was asked, then he may feel shy and that it is a humiliation for the other person. So that was his trait. He said no one ever praised him except that he remembered how small he is, and then he is not worthy of any praise, and he cared about others. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfiru innahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, as-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallim. Now, his balanced application of the religion, because it was a time when many people were converting to Islam, because the Islam was the superpower, and people are coming from different backgrounds, different culture, and so on, similar to this time, sort of. So this is one of the important thing to note, how he navigated the life. Muslims were exposed to many new culture, and Mutarrif was very open-minded while dealing with these cultures. He understood being righteous and a worshipper doesn't mean that you do not enjoy the bounties of Allah in this dunya. He said, if we were to stand the entire night asking Allah to kill us all because we are not grateful enough, Alhamdulillah, Allah doesn't want this from us. Allah doesn't want that from us, right? And will be pleased with us for much less and just following the commands of Allah. It's a deep thoughts, but I just don't want to repeat. He said, I would rather spend the entire night sleeping and waking up regretting that I didn't pray Qiyamul Layl than spend the entire night praying Qiyamul Layl and wake up feeling proud of what I did. I'm repeating again. He said, I'd rather spend the entire night sleeping and waking up regretting that I missed the Qiyamul Layl, rather spending the whole night with Qiyamul Layl and then wake up with the feelings of prideness, of proud, being proud that I did a lot of things. That was his statement, right? And one of the people witnessed that they have seen some of his utensils making tasbih in front of this. He had some of the karama. Anyway, I'll not go through that. But he died in Al-Basra in 95 after Hijri. He asked his brother Yazid not to make a public announcement about his death. A gift from Mutarrif that he said, there is nothing a person is given after faith which is better for him than a sound mind. There is nothing a person is given after faith which is better for him than a sound mind. 5 lessons we can take from his life. The first, whenever a fitnah or trial or fighting happens among Muslims, fighting of any sort, right? Do not make a debate. Do not make a debate, but answer in a way to close the door for that arguments, to save yourself from the fitnah, from that fighting. Second, comprehensive understanding of Islam, because Islam is a broad religion. It doesn't have any shortcomings or anything. With the type of knowledge he had studying under the companions, he was a great scholar, but he was scared to be involved in the fitnah. Do not leave the Quran and Sunnah for anyone else's opinion, no matter how noble the person may be. Being closer to Allah is a security for anyone. Being closer to Allah is a security for anyone. He did not fall under the peer pressure. Hold on to what is true. Hold on to what is true. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfiru innahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabi ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu 'alayhi